All right, what is up? Hopefully we are live. Let me do the normal stuff. But welcome to the Automate Your Agency show. I believe this is episode number 29. I have my
Damn.
business partner here, right?
What's
29.
up? 29 is a lot.
It's like, so next it's going to be 30, and it's like, that's 30 weeks.
Yeah.
Imagine that. But welcome, everyone. Welcome to the show. It's been 29 weeks that we've been doing this consistently all throughout the year. I think we started like a year before. Actually, before we did Automate Your Agency show, we had this other setup, right? It was like, what was the name of the show before, bro? It was like Agency Rocket
Um,
Fuel Show, or something like that, or
yeah, something like that.
yeah. And we had the whole reel and all that, and like cool graphics and all that, and it was a lot of fun. So we rebranded to the Automate Your Agency show. So we've actually done more than 29 shows now, which is amazing. But let me just check my phone real quick, making sure we're live. If you guys see us and hear us, let us know in the comment section below. But we have something big for everyone. We're going to talk about Toolbox. Toolbox. Why did I even say that? We're going to talk about tools. All right, that's what we're going to do. Tools that we use to basically run our agency, right? And
Nice.
the four tools that we're going to share with you today is basically runs 90% of like what we do in our business, right? Those kind of four things are just always running in the background. And we made a post about this, I believe it was a year ago. And, a lot of comments, people loved it. And, we were thinking, hey, maybe we can just dive deeper into those four tools in this particular show. I think it was a couple of days ago, we asked the members of this group. And by the way, did you know that we're already at 900 members in this Facebook group right now?
Nice.
This
Yeah,
started
I
as an
heard.
idea. Yeah, it's like used to be like what, like just you and me and a couple people here, sharing some cool stuff about like systems and automations. And now there's 900 people here, and every single week we're getting like 20 people join the group, which is amazing. So whether you are starting out right with your agency, or you're like a senior agency owner where it's like you're probably doing 100K 200K a month, welcome. There's a lot of successful entrepreneurs and agency owners in this group that you can connect with, that you can learn from. And they're just very good people. They're here to help. If you ask your question, they're going to help you out. We had a dude, I think it was a couple of days ago, who posted something about his niche, and there was like 10 15 different agency owners who were just helping him out. And by the way, these aren't people that were gurus, these are actual agency owners that helped him out. So I just want to say that, because if you're in this group, if you're new to this group, just interact with the people here, because Rainer, me, everyone on our team, we're going to answer. Plus you have other 900 like agency owners that are going to help you out. It's a lot of good
Yep.
stuff. So dude,
Awesome.
let's dive right in. I mean, how are you, man? I mean, it's been a year, right? And it's like December. I woke up today,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, it's December. How's your year been?
Yeah, it's been interesting. I mean, like, yeah, the agency's growing, things like that, and just finding like I guess, it's December, so for a lot of us it's time to kind of reflect, look back at the year, see what direction we want to take into the next year. So I think that's what sneak peek in next week's episode, I believe, right? We're gonna talk about some things we're doing in terms of the planning, some things we're doing to kind of prepare ourselves to learn from what we've done this year and take that into next year. So we'll talk about that next week. So stay tuned for that. I think it's our last show for the year, but or is it 2 weeks from now? I'm not sure. But then for today, yeah, it's good to kind of like revisit, right, some of our kind of like the best piece of resources we've kind of shared over the last 2 years running agency Rocket Fuel. And this one we're gonna talk about today is definitely one of the top ones, like you mentioned. So I think we're going to be able to bring a lot of value as people look for, new ways to kind of like reorganize their business. It's going to be downtime for a lot of people in the next 2 3 weeks, which is great. So this is a good time to just revisit, take a look at what's with your business right now, what in your agency, what's missing, what's not there yet, what can be added. And I think these four resources will be an amazing, like, fit for any agency owner who's looking to add a few things under their tool belt, right? So yeah,
Good
I
stuff.
think that's yeah. Let's dive right in.
Dive right in, man. Good stuff. So here's the game plan, everybody. we're talk about why we're gonna chat about like the different tools, and then I'm gonna share my screen. We have a document with like the 4 tools that we use, and then a little bit of description of each and why we use it, how we use it, and then we're gonna move over to like maybe some screenshots or actual usage of these tools. And our hope is that you can model what we do, right? We have 5 people on here. Our hope is that once we kind of share these tools and why we use it and how we use it, you can start to model. So stick in this show because like we're going to go through like 4 different tools. And the moment that you have this in synergy and you integrate this into your business, honestly it can save you a lot of time, right? Because if you have the tools working together seamlessly, one, it's going to be more efficient, right? Second, you're not going to have to use your brain as a storage device. Rather, you're going to use it as a processing center, because everything, all the information that you store, it's going to be on your tools, right? You don't have to like use like brain power to remember something, because you're going to put it in all your tools. So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to dive right into it. There's 6 people on here. We have our sales specialist, Karen. She is tagging all of the people who requested to watch this show. So thanks, Karen. But let's just dive right in, man. I'm going to share my screen here. Let me know if you can see my screen, man.
Yep, you got it. I see your screen.
Cool. So if you can see my screen, just say, I can see your screen. I don't know, just boost up the engagement here, but let us know. There's 5 people on here. I want to make sure that, we're not talking to ghosts here, but like, here it is, man. Agency Toolbox, right? So what we've done is we wrote down some of the tools that we use, actually the big 4 tools that we use. And then I have a couple of, tabs open here so that we can give you an example of how you can use it so you can model it. But they're really 4 tools, right? Angelica Martinez says, yes, thanks so much. They see my screen. So we have Google Drive App Suite. Let me just kind of give you an overview. Google Drive, right? We have Asana, we have Slack, and then we have Supermetrics. 90%. Chris Rivera is here. What's up, brother? He can see it. So these pretty much run 90% of our business. But we kind of call these hubs, right? So we have different hubs for the tools that we run in our business. So let's start with Google Drive, Raynard, right? Google Drive is like our information hub, pretty much. Like we store all our information there. So maybe give our people like just a, background of like how we use Google Drive and why it's super important.
Yeah, so Google Drive is like it's mentioned here, it's our information hub, right? So it's where everything is, literally everything, right, in terms of information. So like when it comes to what example, a copy, creative image, this and that, it's all in Google Drive, right? So why we like using Google Drive is, number one, it's easy to share, right? So um permissions on Google Drive are so much easier to manage compared to something like Dropbox or even Microsoft 365, which is Excel and stuff like that. And because when you scale up your organization, you want to have an easy way to share information. You don't want to be like, oh, did this John have access to this folder? Sally does have this and that. You want an easy way to organize all this, and Google Drive is by far the easiest way to manage permissions, right? We do this through teams. I mean, groups. It's actually called Google Groups. Here on the on Google, where you can like basically manage you I mean put people in a group and then share an entire folder to that group. So when you want to add someone to a set of folders, instead of example, there's, let's say you have a marketing folder and you have like a sales folder, and you want your marketing team to be in both. So instead of adding, like, let's say you have a new marketing team member, John, instead of adding John to those folders manually, you add John to the group, and the group is added to those 2 folders already. So John automatically gets access to those 2 folders, right? So that's just a use case, one of the many use cases of Drive. But I think that's the most underrated one that not many people talk about. Of course, the usual stuff, spreadsheets, blah blah blah. That's cool, but I think permissions is where Google Drive really shines. And when you use it correctly at scale, example, if you're like 20 people, like we are at this point, then you'd be, it's really important to get permissions right, because if not, you'll be dealing with, like, example, you'll be dealing with the scenarios where, example, if a person does not have permission for a certain asset, then they'll probably be delayed for a day, because, example, or like, a few hours, because they have to wait for the client to give access or for someone to give access when they're in the middle of work. So that's a lot of back and forth you don't want to deal with, right? So um, Google Drive is how we basically solve all of that, right? So that's kind of number one, and then I think everyone here knows basically the other benefits, which is you can collaborate on it, you can leave comments, you can share it to literally anyone, even if they don't have a Google account. All of that are pretty valid as well. So yeah, that's basically. Oh, and the big thing, I guess that's one here. Is the code. So Google Drive, Google Apps, the biggest thing about Google Apps, I think, is the second most underrated piece, is that you can custom code stuff, meaning you can do things that you normally cannot do on a regular kind of like spreadsheet, in a sense that since Google is connected online, you don't, because on Excel you can actually do things like macros. I'm not sure if some of you are familiar, like VBA, which is like Visual Basic. You can code stuff in Excel, which is, people know that. But the good thing about Google Drive is since it's online, your code can actually interface with other online kind of like APIs, meaning you can have code in Google Drive or Google Sheets basically, or it's called Google Script actually. It's embedded inside a sheet. You can have code in Google that basically runs and accesses Asana, accesses Slack, accesses Trello, or whatever it is. So for us, example, we have a form, right, that we fill out, and it's tied to code that we've written inside Google that basically fires everything and everywhere. Like Asana, it creates a task in Asana, it creates something on Slack, it creates this and that, creates folders in Google Drive. So that programmatic side of Google Drive really appeals to us. You can't do this at all in Dropbox. You can't do this in Box, in Microsoft, whatever. Google Drive is the only software that has that functionality, which makes it really easy to customize your systems once you get to that point. So, yeah, I think those are the top two. I would say that ties directly to the KPI trackers that really make Google Drive such a strong piece of what we do. It's basically where we store almost everything. The big thing I would say though is that we do not. So although storage is different from, because information, right, technically is anything. A task is a piece of information, right? A discussion is information, but we don't store those in Drive, right? That's why we have these other tools inside the toolbox that handle that, right? Because for tasks, as you see here, we use Asana, right? For communicate, for discussion, we use Slack, right? So although that's information, that's not information stored, so that's why they're not really inside Drive, which we'll talk about in a bit. But yeah, that's basically why we use Drive, and why it's like a key piece and some hidden nuggets that most people probably don't use it with, like the permissions, the code. um and yeah, but we also do things like organize it, which I think Fran will be showing, right? Like how we
Mhm.
organize it and stuff that people don't really think about. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty much it. Yeah.
For sure, man. And we have a question here, and I'll dive into that in a bit from Chris. But like, yeah, when I first learned about Teams, that just blew my mind because like you can imagine the time waste, right? Let's say you invite someone on and you give them access to different folders. And the old way, well, this was my way, is like I would share the folder to Chad the closer at hotmail.com, right? And so I would share this folder, I would share that folder, this document, that document. And if I ended up not working with Chad anymore, I had to like manually like remove him from all these different folders, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the old way. And it's just a time consuming task. Now, the new
Yeah.
way, like what Reynard said, is just create Google groups, right? You can have a group for your sales team, marketing team, whatever, and share those folders to the different teams. And when you need to remove Chad the closer, you just remove Chad from the sales team and boom, he's done. He's gone from all the teams that you share access to, right? And then obviously the scripts that we're talking about. Chris is asking, do we have to know how to code to do this, or are there scripts available to swipe? Um,
Yeah. So depends on what you need. I think you depends on what you need. So the great thing about script is that you can do anything you want. The bad thing about script is you can do anything you want, right? Because it's so customizable, and code in general is that you need to do it. You need to customize it to your use case. So, there definitely are templates out there. Even our KPI tracker template has code or a script to send out emails automatically. That's fairly templatized, but you have to use the sheet the way we built it, which it's fine. But as you probably know, if you've been tuning into the shows and to all our content, we're very big advocates of not using templates as much, because you need to make sure stuff is customized to your agency, right? So take our templates, take whatever we show you here, but make sure to give it the thought to give it a thought to how can I customize to my agency. But to answer your question, yes, there's probably scripts out there, templates. If you do a quick Google search or Facebook groups for it, I believe there's even like people who sell scripts for software like high level, specifically interfacing Google script with high level. So there's stuff like that for sure. I just noticed it went really dark. Wait,
I know, right? I was like,
um,
wow, it's like
I
12
know
midnight.
the sun went covered or something. I'll turn on the lights. But yeah, there are templates, but for the most part, you will need someone who's adept with code. For myself, I know I learned how to program before I started marketing, so I was able to write the code myself for a bit, and then it just got overwhelming. So now we have a developer on the team, which our clients all have access to. So for some of our clients have more complex systems already. We built that out all custom for them. No cost to them, even if it costs us to have the developer on board. But that's one of the perks you get for working with us, right? So yeah, so that's basically the answer. Hope that answers your
Yeah.
question. I'll turn on the
And I
lights for a bit.
think, I'm not sure, but I think we've had a couple of shows where we shared some scripts. So let us know what you're looking for specifically. And our advisor, Daniel, he's going to reach out to anyone who asks, but like he can look through some of our trainings and give you access to that. I'm sure there was one or two there that we had to share a script because without it, like it wouldn't work. So
Yeah.
yeah, Daniel, if you're watching this, somewhat, you can reach out to some of the people here. But in terms of organizing everyone, so this is kind of like how we think about. Now again, the important thing is to take the thinking behind what we do and not just like copy everything. We can copy everything, but like when we create Google Drive folders, right, we like to put numbers behind them because like these numbers represent the different departments, and that these numbers also coincide with like the different Slack channels that we have, right? So what we like to do is, let's say clients, right, there's 01, and then underscore, and then clients, right? And then sales is like the number, the ID is 5. It can be any number, but like if we go to our Slack channel, we all of the different sales channels, they also have the number 5. So we know that anything that has number 5, it's going to be sales related, right? And it might not make sense if you're just starting out, but trust me, as you scale up, it's gonna help you a ton, right? Because now everyone knows the system behind this. But like Reynard, anything you want to add to this in terms of like how we organize folders?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So how we do it is, like Fran said, in our drive we have um we actually think this through. Like we have like folders for departments, and then we share each folder again to the necessary group. So everyone is working out of the same folders. No one is making a folder out not inside this main set of folders. So how it works, example, if you're the agency owner, example me, I'm starting out, my Google Drive is empty. The first folders I make are these, like clients, business playbook, whatever my departments are. And then I share these folders to the groups or to the people in my team, and they add these folders into their drives, and they make everything within those folders. So not a single thing is made outside, almost, I guess, is not made inside outside these folder structures to keep things organized. Meaning, if someone makes a document, in example, someone in the accounting team makes a document in the accounting folder, the entire accounting team has access already. I'm sure you run into these situations where you ask a team member to, hey, can you make me a budget plan or whatever it is? They make a document, they share it to you, they give you the link, you try to open it, and it's like you can't access it. And you're like, hey, bro, I need access. Can you share it to me? There's like a back and forth. But if you have this structure in place where you have folders ahead, what you could have done is like he or she makes the file itself in this folder already, and that will already automatically give access to everyone on your team, right? So it's very, I guess, so that it's very, I guess, trivial. People are like, hey, that doesn't really matter, but to a certain extent it doesn't. But then it saves you a lot of time on a day to day. You can, and once you have this set up, and more importantly, when you understand the methodology and the principle behind it, you can basically guarantee that moving forward it's going to be so much more organized for you, right? So that's kind of the idea.
Yep, that's true. And then other than that, I mean, business playbook, it's where we store a lot of our SOPs, a lot of our trackers, it's all there. But generally, this is how we structure all of our businesses, different IDs, different numbers for different departments. And then like what we shared a while ago, just, share it to the different groups. So that is Google Drive. Wow, we spent a good amount of time there. But let us know if you have any questions about this. And Chris sent like an emoji with like the head blowing off. So not sure If it was about the drives or was it about the groups, let us know, Chris. But let's move on. Let's move on. If you guys have questions about Google Drive, just let us know. But next is Asana. All right. So Google Drive was like our information hub, and I think Reynard, you brought up an interesting point a while ago, right? Information can be anything, right? It can be in Asana, it can be Google, but it depends on like how we process that information as well, right? And you could store information in Asana as well, but I think the main difference is that Asana is like an action hub. And so is every other project management tool out there, right? I see a lot of people use ClickUp, Basecamp, Asana, whatever it is that you use. Project management tools, they are action hubs. And it's actually really close to like, can you share your list? What is this? What kind of list? Let us know, Chris. But like Asana, it houses all of our actionable processes, our projects, to dos, and we even communicate here, right? It's our action
Mhm.
hub, and all the tasks live here. I'm just going to read off the notes here and then we can chat about this. But literally everything we do is inside Asana. And we do this to make sure we get tasks off our brains and to into something more accessible by everyone. And so I'd like to kind of make this analogy that our brains, it's not a storage device. And if you use your brain as a storage device, it's very similar to like swimming in murky waters, right? You could swim, but it's like you can't really see that far because the water isn't clear. And if you use your brain as a storage device, there's not enough space for you to process, to think about the business, to innovate, and to think of new ideas, right? So that's why you want to dump all the information in like an action hub like Asana. Um, One thing here is that each department and function is given its own project, and which I'll show you in a bit. And each client has its own project as well, with a number of tasks already associated with them when we launch, right? So this keeps everyone accountable. It just makes it easier to get a pulse of like what people are doing on their day to day. So,
Mhm.
bro, like anything you want to share about Asana specifically? You've been using this for like, I don't know, like 5 years now, I think.
Forever.
Forever,
Even when
right?
I was before I started, like, I guess, like the agency and stuff, it was everything was on Asana for me. So yeah, so Asana, and no matter what you use, some of you might be using ClickUp, Trello, Airtable, whatever is your Basecamp, whatever it is. You should have a project management software basically where you track all the actions you need to take in your agency, right? Like Fran said, you cannot be think it's hard for you to think if all you're thinking about is what you're going to do, right, instead of what you're going to be doing in the future, right? So you need to have a place where you move all your tasks, like actionable items, in one place. I don't care if it's your notebook and a pen. You need a place where you have, a place to put those action items, right? We use Asana because, in our opinion, it's the most user friendly one. It's the easiest to configure. It's the one that's pretty much the most I guess user like I said, user friendly, but it's the one that's most easy to customize to your needs, while providing enough structure, right? And I think the biggest part for us as well, its API is one of the most accessible ones, meaning we can do literally whatever we want with it, and when it comes to code. So we have automations, like I said, that someone fills out a form and like a project is duplicated. We don't use Zapier anymore for the most part. Like tasks are created, stuff are assigned, variables are, crazy things. So that's why we like Asana, and it's very easy to use, right? So the point here is that you need somewhere to place stuff that's inside your head when it comes to taking action, right? Because you don't want to forget things. Example, if you have an action item from today that you need to take action on tomorrow, you don't want to try to remember it tomorrow, right? You want to clean up your head. If you know, like, okay, John told me that I have to do this. Let me put it on my task list on Asana. I'll move it tomorrow so that tomorrow I can deal with it. So that today you don't have to think about that thing anymore. You can just delete it off your brain and free up space to think about other things, right? So that's how we like to think about Asana, any project management tool. And that's why you got to make it easy for yourself, because if it's not easy, it's added load, right? How to use the software, blah, blah, blah. That's why we make it a point in our program to make sure we train our team, our clients on Asana. So we have a full module all about Asana and how to use it, not like all those boring tutorials on Asana, but actionable stuff on how we as an agency actually use the thing to run our operations, right? So that's why we include that, make sure everyone's educated on how to use it, because if not, again, you'll just be slowed down. So in terms of more tactical stuff, and I guess we can share, I think you have like wanted to show a
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah. So
um
I'm going to show one of the promises that we made for the show is like basically give you behind the scenes of like how we use some of the tools. But like, there's a great question with Chris here, and I think we kind of blend this into the training. But like, he says, "This is my biggest issue. I took a course called Building a Second Brain. I love that, and they use a
Yeah, go.
concept called para. Right? Do you know that
Yep.
building a
Yeah.
second brain?
Yeah, go
Okay,
forte. I'm in his Praxis
dude,
membership too.
Rainer is everywhere. I don't know,
Anything
man.
productivity I've probably already touched.
So yeah, projects, errors, users, all that. And but I found it hard to translate. I find it hard to translate that into business.
Mm.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, so that's finally we have this pretty good conversation. I've never spoken to someone all these things. So good to have you on the group, Chris. But yeah, so the thing about para and any other methodology really, even myself, I've been a Praxis member forever and I got in like in beta and I just never really used para, right? It never really fit me because para is a very Evernote heavy strategy. His initial one was on Evernote, but now he's tried to do it on. He has versions of it on Notion, on Rome Research, but we yeah I what I like to do whenever I come across these productivity philosophies is I try to understand it to the best of my ability, but I don't force myself to implement it. I try though, like of course as I go through it, I try to implement. I do this and that, but I'm not so hard on myself that oh shit, like it just doesn't work for me. And after maybe a week or two of using it, and if it doesn't stick, I let it go, right? So what I'm just trying to say is this will apply para or like whatever else you use. You what you have to do is try it out and try to take the principles away from what you kind of like consume in terms of the content, and then customize it to how you're doing things, right? And it's the same with this show. As you watch the show, you're gonna see that we name client success 20. We have an internal clients team, whatever. We name, we had that folder structure. You're gonna try this out and you're gonna run into a roadblock. You'll be like, oh shit, this doesn't work for me, doesn't make sense. I want to see how this isn't I'm having a hard time, right? And that's normal. What you have to do is try it out, get the principles and apply it in your own way, right? That's why with all our clients, right, everything is customized. We don't just force a template down your throat because that's counterintuitive to everything we stand for, right? What we like to do is we give you the principle, we give you the system, we give you templates even, but we work with you one on one to kind of like figure out how we can customize it so you actually use the thing, right? So that's the biggest problem we see and we're trying to address with whenever we work with anyone who's a good fit for what we can bring to the table. We make sure it's customized to what you do. So going to para specifically, that's projects, areas, responsibilities, actions, right? I think.
Almost there,
Um,
man. Resources and archive was the last two.
resources and archives. Sorry. Um, so projects, right? Areas. So it's
Projects,
very,
areas,
you can
resources. Yeah.
see it as, I don't really actually remember this. Areas was the bigger one, right? I'm not sure. Responsibilities.
Mm.
So if I remember right, the whole idea is that you need to kind of have a place for stuff, meaning like, you have projects that are like basically like the entire, like what are the different things that you're working on. I believe areas are wider scopes, example, personal life. I have like business, stuff like that. Responsibilities are probably the actions that you have to take, and archive is basically anything you're done with. So I never really found it useful because of like it was hard for me to use Evernote. I'm not an Evernote guy. Friend's an Evernote guy, but I
Yeah.
don't know if you like Pyro also. But yeah, I would say that the key takeaway from that when I read it was the idea that you have to separate and chunk things down. I think that was the big thing for me, that you need to have areas, meaning you have personal life, you have business. Even business can be broken down if you have multiple businesses or something. Relationships, friends. You need to have all that documented and put on paper, even if you don't think it should be put on paper. Something like relationships, right? And then under that, you can think of what projects can I take on to move this area forward, right? So that's when it comes out to Asana, do you put Asana project, doesn't really matter, like the technical aspect, but that's the concept I got. And now you think of responsibilities that you have to take. And the biggest part, I guess, is that once you're done with a project or a certain task or responsibility, you'll never be done with an area unless, of course, that's more long term. You can then archive it, right? So I think the archive part is a really key concept that people don't really think about, meaning what can I move away and say, I'm done with this. Let's move on and think about the next thing, right? That's why the tasks, if you check off a task, it disappears. You're archiving it basically, because the idea is you want to remove it off your head so you can think about other things, right? So that's what I would say about Para. I forgot the details of it. But yeah, that I hope that was helpful. In terms of just like how can you take the methodology, and do something about it in general, even with the stuff you learn here in this group.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think that goes for any kind of project management and productivity kind of course or program out there, right? Like, how do you translate that into business? I think that's a big question that Chris is asking. One
Mm-hmm.
thing that we do with our clients is like, if you have a fulfillment process, the first step, the very first step that we ask clients to do is just make a list on a Google Doc, right, of everything you do from the moment you close a deal up until like the service is delivered or the campaign is launched, and that is known as your core fulfillment process, right? It's what you do, right, to get results for clients. And once you have that list, that's in our methodology. First, you got to eliminate and chunk things together, right, on paper first, and then you move that over to, let's say, a project, right, in Asana. And this is like your client project, so that this is the exact steps. These are the exact steps that you take whenever you close a deal and you bring a client on, right? And it's just a matter of like your team members checking things off. And like the one that I'm showing you guys on the screen, this says the show checklist that we have for this particular show, right? We have all our steps laid out. It works like a machine. We have the steps delegated out. It's my responsibility to go live in the group, right? It's Reina's responsibility to track the live viewers and comments of this show. And then our sales special, our marketing specialist Karen, it's her responsibility to like archive the show, put in the unit section and all that, right? And this is how you kind of translate that. But we didn't know this at the get-go because we didn't download an SOP somewhere. We actually had to do it, right? We actually had to go through the process of doing a live show first, do it 2 or 3 times, and then we found a rhythm, and then we put it on paper, and then we put it on Asana, and now there's a project to it. So it's a long process, but then once you get it down, it's so much easier. So Chris says very helpful. Thanks so much. So I use Notion now. Is that a bad idea? LOL.
No, you should use whatever
Yeah.
it works with you. Like there's a time I used Evernote. There's a time I used Notion. And there is something to be said about sticking to one thing. How just like how we stuck to Asana forever. But for me personally, I never got to stuck in a note platform. It was like I used Evernote for a bit. Actually, that was the longest one I guess. I think I used it for 2 years, where I was using GTD, like getting things done.
GTD. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I moved to Asana for task management. But for now, because what building a second brain is about resource management, right? It's more of about where can you store knowledge. And right now, I don't really do it anywhere. I do it in Drive primarily these days. Keep it simple, but um. ARF is run on Notion. We moved ARF to Notion because the search function and stuff is better than Drive. Augment Digital is still on Drive, so it's up to you. Whatever works for you, just make sure you stick to it, and don't go after stuff for the shiny object and stuff like that. Once you find something that's working, have the discipline to stick to it as much as you can, and take it from there. But if something doesn't work for you, or you're just finding yourself not using it as much, then that's when you're like, okay, maybe I have to, this doesn't really work out for me. So you have to find, it's weird, you have to find that balance, right? But
Yeah.
of like sticking to one thing and just like letting it go as well if it's not the right fit. But
Yeah.
Notion's a great tool. Yeah.
Don't listen to those gurus like ARF that tell you to use Asana. Just don't, right? Just stick
Yeah,
to
don't
whatever
listen to
you're
us.
using. Yeah.
Yep.
But like, so let me kind of just breeze through here. But like in Asana, we have different teams, like, how we use folders. Under those teams, you have the different projects. If you want to go really nitty gritty, we have different colors for different departments. But like, I see some of you that, you don't really use the team functionality, which is a big mistake because you want to organize it much better. So go ahead and search how you can use teams in Asana, and like have a team for sales, a team for accounting, a team for HR, for your clients, for marketing, all that. And then just like organize your projects accordingly. So let's move on. Good stuff. Let us know if you guys have any other questions, but like that is the second tool that we use. Let's move on to Slack. So we did a show on Slack. I think it was 2 or 3 shows ago. I don't remember, but we kind of showed you behind the scenes of what we did. So we're just going to breeze through this, but like if you want to check how we use Slack, just check like maybe 2 shows ago, episode number 27. But Slack is for information that doesn't necessarily have to be stored for future use, and
Mhm.
communication is not necessarily actionable. I think that's the biggest thing here, right? The biggest mistake that I see a lot of agencies do is that they use Slack as their project management software and like they put all the action stuff there, right? You want to separate that out, right? Slack is just for like quick updates, in the moment communication. You have a very quick question, back and forth with team members, but not about storing information or not about actionable information. I think that's the biggest thing that they can remember here. Oh, and Slack is also a great way to have those like notifications for things like maybe a new sale was made, right? Or maybe you collected cash and you want a screenshot of the deals that you've made, and you want to post that on your Facebook profile. Great place to do that. But like, KPIs not being hit, people not performing their tasks, you can have a notification for that, which I'll show you in a bit. But this is primarily how we use Slack. Or anything you want to add to that?
Nope. We have an entire show for it already, so check that out.
Yeah.
I think that should be really helpful.
So quick screenshot here, but again, check out our 2 shows ago. Just go to the unit section and you'll see all our shows, and then you'll see episode 27 or 26, I think. But like, this is a screenshot of one of our Slack channels, and again, you can see the whole ID thing again of like, this is how we structure everything. But like, this particular screenshot though, we have a kind of a system where it's like we take all the tasks, right, that a person has on Asana, and every day we just get a notification of like, okay, how many tasks are left for this is left for this particular person. And it does two things. One, it's like public accountability for everyone, and second, it gives Raynard, who is the CEO of Augment Digital, it just gives him a visual of like where work is at, and he doesn't have to like open the different like Asana projects and open like the different like people in Asana and have to check like what they're doing. Right, this immediately gives him a visual of where things are at. And this is one of the cool things that you can do and you can automate, right? And the usual stuff of like numbering everything. And if I open my Slack and ARF, we also put our clients there. But again, check out our previous show, episode number 27. So let's move on to the last one, Supermetrics. Dude, I think this is like your wheelhouse. But like, this was a
Mm-hmm.
really big thing for us in terms of creating KPI trackers, right? So there's a way for you to use Supermetrics and Google Sheets to get your Facebook data, right, and create a report every single day, which is sent straight to your inbox, so that you don't have to open Facebook Ads Manager or whatever it is that you're using for running ads, right? But dude, maybe you can chat about like Supermetrics and why this is, even though it's a software, why we consider this as foundational.
Yeah, so Supermetrics, yeah, is a core part of our KPI tracking system, which is a core part of us and our ability to make sure client results are there, right? Meaning making sure we're on track. Because in the end, as an agency, sales is great, but then your north star should always be your ability to deliver the results you promised to your clients. So without Supermetrics, we wouldn't have an easy way to basically pull data into the pull data into our tracking sheets, basically on sheets, so that we can easily see that, oh, this ad account is doing poorly, this client is doing poorly, this campaign is doing poorly, and so forth. So for me, example, as you know, as the managing director of Augment Digital, I don't open ad accounts anymore for the most part unless I'm running an account myself. I just open this sheet which has our KPIs, and it tells me, okay, out of the 25, 30 clients we have, 50% of them are hit on target the last 3 days. 20% of them are on target the last 7 days, and so forth. So it makes it easier for us to kind of like for me to kind of manage these things and see like what's what the KPIs are, and like point the team in the right direction. I can see like, oh, the senior media buyers accounts are all doing a bit better. This one's doing a bit purely. I need to reach out to him or her and figure out what's wrong. So that's kind of like why the KPI tracking piece is important, and Supermetrics is a big part of that. So yeah, they're pretty overpriced, but then there's nothing we can do. There's no other software I think that does what they can do. But maybe we are planning, I think, to build our own thing. So we'll see in the next months. But yeah, we'll let you know.
All right, if you want founder discount with our software that we haven't built yet, but then you want to invest in it, just let us know in the comments. Just kidding. But like, dude, two things here. One, so I'm showing you guys a page on the screen, and this was like a tracker that we used like a year ago, and this has evolved since, right? Like we have different
Yeah.
trackers now for different stuff, but like this was like our bread and butter before. Like we had like hundreds of agencies just reach out for this. And if you want the tracking template and like everything, just let us know, or later you can just copy this URL. But like a core part to this is like this particular screenshot is from our actual agency, right? And so this is emailed to Reynard every single morning. I don't know how it looks like now, but like it used to look like this. And he would know, right, which accounts are doing bad, like with the color coding here. And he would see a visual of like 3, 7, 14-day historical data of like his, his performance, right? And this gives him the ability to focus, right? Instead of like spending an hour or two opening ad accounts, you can just open this, which takes a minute, and then now he knows, okay, what am I going to focus on for today, right? And that
Mm.
just gives him crystal clear clarity in what to do. Now, if you
Yep.
want access to this sheet, I believe we have like an ecom KPI dashboard and a lead gen KPI dashboard. Just comment KPI down below, or just open this URL and you'll get access to the kingdom. But one of the things that we do for clients is basically build out dashboards for them, right? To because like different agencies, they have different ways of like tracking stuff. So like we kind of customize that for them in the service that we provide.
Mm.
But again, Supermetrics is a core part to this, right?
Yep.
Um,
For
dude,
sure.
man, we have a question here from Elise. Good
Mm.
to hear from you, Elise. Been a while. Could you do something similar with statuses in Asana and Slack? I think she was referring back to when we shared Slack a while ago, because I know this came up earlier. But like, could you do something similar with statuses in
What do you mean by
Asana and Slack?
statuses?
I'm not sure what you mean by statuses, but maybe the status of a project, like where
What do you
it's at.
what does she want? Wait, I'm looking at the comment.
Okay,
Could
maybe
you do
it's like this.
something similar with Asana Slack for what specifically?
Yeah,
What
at least
function?
let us know. We'll be here for like a couple minutes, but like, yeah, let us know what you mean by that. Um, but yeah, so that's it, man. I mean, those are all the tools. Well, not all the tools that we run, but like
More main ones.
90%, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probably a good percentage of everything that we run is with Google Drive, Asana, Slack, and then Supermetrics, which is like our data grab, or whatever you call it, right? So that's it, man. Good show.
Yep.
Good show. Lots of engagement for this one. I guess people really care about like the tools that they run, right? Because it's a big time saver when you use it the right way, I think. So we have 3 people on here. If you guys have any questions, or we'll stay on for like 2, 3 more minutes. But like, if you guys have any questions on like how we run different tools and softwares, or if you're stuck trying to figure something out, let us know in the comments below. But that is it. That's it, man. Dude, any
Nice.
last words? All right, there you go. Do you guys use Go High Level for clients? I love this question, because we 90% of the time we use Go High Level for our clients, but we've never I guess I can say this, but we've never used it for ourselves, right, Reynard? I think when we first started I think it was our second or third client. He came to us and he says, we use Go High Level. And then we were like, what's Go High Level? And from there we kind of built his systems, and then that's when we started learning about them. And we actually did a show, right, with Robin and Sean, the founders of Go High Level. And we're good friends now. But yeah, we use Go High Level for our clients. I think one of the automations that we can do, right, Rainer, is like you can like duplicate a snapshot and all that. Not sure how deep we go, but like maybe you can shed some light into that.
Yeah, so we don't use Go High Level for our own agency, but we've almost all our clients in RF use Go High Level, so we technically use it too because we're building automations and stuff. High Level is great. It's a great software, especially for lead gen agencies. Definitely recommend it. I don't know what the question is, but yeah, we have a bunch of automations there that we use to kind of like streamline a few things. A lot of it actually High Level has been really great at building out features that bring it in house. So like the reporting has been so much better. Their appointment scheduling, their calendar just improved recently. So lots of things that we used to automate off High Level to kind of go around its limitations are now in the platform, which is really good. So yeah, that's High Level is a great piece of software that I would really recommend for any local lead gen agency. For ecom, not as much, but lead gen for sure.
Nice. Julio says, I'm beginning my journey into running an agency. Congratulations, brother. It's going to be the best thing ever. If you need any help, reach out to Daniel Flowers or me, and let us know what you're struggling with so we can give you more trainings to help you out in running your agency so that you don't have to make the same mistakes that we do. Chris
Nice.
says, what's your recommended CRM sales software? Right now, we use ActiveCampaign just because we're a little bit more advanced and we want to mix our marketing data with our sales data. But previously, we were using Pipedrive for the longest. I mean, I love Pipedrive. For the longest time, I've been using them. If you just want something quick, something easy to use, and you don't have to integrate a lot of things, I would recommend Pipedrive.
Yep.
Just because I love it. But like, if you want to go more advanced, and Rainer kind of shared this, you can use Active Campaign, right, to blend the marketing data and email automation and all that into one place.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, hopefully that makes sense, Chris. Julio says, thank you. You're welcome. That's it, man. I think that's it.
Nice.
Good
Good
stuff.
stuff.
Good show.
All right.
So that wraps up our show. I think oh, I forgot. Someone asked like what's the other 10%? I don't know, man. What's the other 10% that we use?
What do you say? Oh,
Like,
10%.
yeah, because like we kept saying 90%, right?
Oh, 10%. Let's
Like
see.
type form.
No, actually, I would say what Google Calendar. No, I think
It's
that's
still Google
number.
Apps, yeah.
If I look at the stuff, if I look at my top apps, if you want to know your top apps, I recommend using Rescue Time. Excuse me,
Hmm.
Rescue Time is a great plugin that I use that I can see like how many hours I spend on the desktop, what apps I use. Is it productivity? Is it like Netflix? Is it whatever? If I look at that, I spend most of my time in Asana and Google Drive. So if you want a hard number for all, I
Yeah.
can look for one. But I think that's really the 90%. Those three stuff, not counting Ads Manager, but I don't spend much time there anyway as well. Um, so yeah,
Zoom for meetings. I
Zoom,
mean,
yeah,
it's one thing, yeah.
probably.
But see, those are just like things that are easy to find, but like these are the core ones that you want to focus
Mm,
on. So cool beans. So if you want our help, here comes the pitch, everyone. Here comes the pitch. If you want our help to build the systems, I'm just kidding. But honestly, if you found a lot of value from all our shows, like we've done like 30 plus shows, we've given out all our templates, we've practically given everything away for free, right? We can just stop our business right now and just like, just give everything away for free. But here's the
mm-hmm,
thing, right? You're a business owner, you have different things on your mind, you're running your business, you're running you have a family to feed, and there's a lot of things going on in your life, and you just want someone to help you integrate all the different tools, right? All the different tools, the software out there, create the systems, SOPs, automations, and build a team that cares as much as you do, a team that will grow your business for you, that will work tirelessly for you, and a world-class team. Then reach out, right? This is what we do. This is our bread and butter. We've done this for a really long time. We've done it for agency. We've done it for countless agencies all around the world, right? We've had clients in Asia, in Europe, in the US, in Canada. And we have a lot of testimonials. And this is what we're gonna do, right? 90 days. We're gonna systematize your agency. We're gonna automate your workflows. We're gonna help you build a world-class team. We're gonna implement the trackers and dashboards so that you can truly function as a chief executive officer. And we're gonna do all that in 90 days. If you're interested to learn more, you're gonna speak with one of our systems consultants. He was here a while ago, Zach. He's going to walk you through what we do. He's going to dissect your business. He's going to audit your business and show you the different bottlenecks that you have. It's going to be a lot of fun, 45 minutes. And if it makes sense, only if it makes sense, and this is a standard that we hold ourselves against with, if it makes sense to work with us, we'll make you an offer, right? If it doesn't make sense, we'll point you in the right direction. So message me if you want to learn more about our 90-day accelerator. I'll connect you with Zach. You're going to speak over Zoom, and you're going to walk through the program and audit your business. But that's it. So thanks so much for sticking with us towards the end here. Next week we'll be talking about how you can set goals and targets and objectives and key results for 2021 so that you are guided with complete clarity. But that wraps up our show. Thanks so much, everyone, and we'll see you in the next one.
sounds good. All right, thanks, guys.
All right, bye.